Yo, what's good? This is episode 9 of the 360 Vita podcast. Unfortunately, we've kicked Swave off the podcast. Nah, he is
too much Ashton Hall posting. We had to get bro off the team.
Nah, he's in timeout. He's been working really hard, and he just couldn't make it today. So he'll be back for the next episode. Apologies about that, but he'll be back soon. I think we're going to talk about some interesting stuff today. So
join the Discord.
Oh yes, that's right. Join the Discord. We have about like 60 people in the Discord. It's a really great time. Server. Please
Good
join.
Discussion.
Yeah, I'm gonna link it. We're gonna link it, and I'm gonna see if we could link it on Spotify and Apple too. I'm gonna see if they allow that.
I'm not description.
Sure. Yeah. But yeah, I'll see about that. But on YouTube, it'll definitely be linked. I'm gonna start linking it in the.
It's a great place to connect with us and then connect with the other viewers and actually talk about stuff. We talked about art. We talked about philosophy. We talked about a bunch of different stuff. So definitely tap in.
Yeah, I've been in there. Manga posting the last couple of days. We got some good discussion in there. It's a good time.
True. Word. All right. So who we starting off with? Thunderman?
Yeah. So the topic I wanted to discuss today, well, one of them at least, is about college and I guess also university if you want to like differentiate the two. And basically, I mean, we've all been done with college for a while. I graduated in 2020, so that was 5 years ago now. And I don't know, I feel like I see a lot of I guess a lot of it is like stuff online, but even I know some friends that I went to college with and some of their younger siblings are no longer going to college. And so I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing, but I feel like people are moving away from thinking college is as necessary as it was. Like obviously when we were growing up, it was really drilled into our heads. Like you go to college after high school, you need to go to college. Otherwise you can't get a job. You won't make a living. You can't do this. You can't do that. They really tried to drill it into our heads a lot. I mean, they did a good job of drilling it into our heads when we were in middle school, high school, all that. Like almost everything is like up until that you graduate 12th grade. They're like college is next. That is like, I almost thought like, okay, this is just part of life. Like that 4-year period, it happens for everyone, right? And now it seems to be like people are starting to realize that college, for one, is very expensive. I guess university in specific is extremely expensive when you pay room and board, tuition, and then you got to make meals for yourself and all this other stuff. And people are starting to say kind of, is the need for 4 years of college or even 2 years of college needed? Especially when we see all these new careers coming up or ways people are able to get paid. Record amounts of people are being able to make money off their smartphones and their computers, right? There's a big social media change as well with YouTube streaming, all this other stuff. And that's just one thing. A lot of online businesses flourish nowadays as well, that it wasn't like that back then. You see a lot of Instagram stories, you see random clothing brands, you see all this stuff. So it kind of made me think of the question, do more people, like, I don't know, what is your guys' take on that? Because something I told these guys when we were talking about this just like 10 minutes before we started recording is I went to university for 4 years. I had a great time. But I used to think a lot, especially in my senior year, because I had already finished all my credits. And then at that point I was taking more classes just to, fulfill a minor degree as well. And I realized like that year I was like, damn, I kind of wish I just went to college for less time. I feel like I didn't need 4 years of this. I feel like I could have saved a lot of money. I could have fast tracked, like I could have started things earlier, I guess, for myself. Like a big part of it does come down to saving money, which, I mean, that's life. Everything is about saving money, right? But I don't know, also just like the time and the ability to kind of just be out of that scheduled life and put all the time you want into, something that you want to build or work or whatever the case is. So basically I wanted to ask you guys about that because it's been so many years since we were college aged. And so I want to know, have your guys' opinions changed? And what do you, I guess, value from college or like what you think wasn't all that?
You want to go first?
I have a lot of thoughts, so it's up to you.
But I low-key have a lot of thoughts too. My mind is jumping all over the place. First thing I want to say is I don't think you need college for a lot of jobs. Sure. I do think the typical, doctor, lawyer, things like that, teacher, you definitely need college for those. You should go. But if you don't think you're going to do anything that you're going to use your degree for, then you should probably save your money. And especially nowadays, because you can learn things on the internet, you can leverage the internet, and you can make things happen if you work well enough, if you work smart enough. And also you take that money you was going to spend and you could definitely like if you have exactly what you have in mind, you could do that. Second thing I want to say is we talked about this the first episode, but trades. Mm-hmm. So if you don't really know what you want to do or whatever, but you want to make a little bit of money, you could just go to trade school. And it's way cheaper and it's way shorter. And you could just get into welding. You could get into plumbing, HVAC, electrical, and you could do things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you want to say?
A couple of things. I guess I'll start with this. For context, I grew up very poor. And I think that impacts like why I decided to go to college. My mom was a single parent mom. I have a little sister. My little sister's actually, I think she's in community college, and it was like a struggle to get her to go to community college, which all of this is why my perspective on this is what it is. I'm actually pro college, pro university, but I think people need to have more critical thinking as it relates to what is their best decision for them.
Yeah,
I think a lot of the time, and a lot of this falls on the part of like college counselors and like the infrastructure of getting people to college. A lot of people, and even myself, maybe have made a mistake of going to at least master. I got a master's, which is the majority of my debt. My first degree isn't as much because I was poor, I got a lot of grants. Sure. So it wasn't that huge. But I think if people were willing to forego like I'm going to go to private school, or I'm going to go to X school in this state or out of state school.
Yeah, out of state is a killer.
It's a super killer.
Yeah.
If people were willing to forego that and go to an in-state school, whether it's like we live in New York, if they go to like a SUNY or something like that, or if they go to like a city school.
Explain that real quick.
A SUNY is the state of New York University.
Yeah, I think
I'm like trying to
say. I think that is
State University.
State University of New York.
S stands for state and C stands for city. So a SUNY school is a college or institute anywhere in the state of New York, and you pay less if you're a resident in New York. You pay less. Fair. And CUNY is a city of New York. So same thing. If you're a resident in New York City, you pay less if you go to a CUNY school.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So all that being said, people should be utilizing those options more, because with money, those are much less expensive than I went to two really good schools that are super expensive. Thankfully, at least for the first degree, got majority of it off. College is still super important, especially if you don't know what you're going to do or what you're trying to do with your life. And this is something that I've been trying to convey to my little sister, especially because it's only really now that my mom is getting like a good job, like a pretty good job, like a decent job, and she still makes less money than me. And she went to, I remember being in her college classes when I was a kid. She would take me to school with her in her associate's degree. And I think she ended up getting a bachelor's or something like that after. But all that to say is, my mom wouldn't have been able to get the job that she has now if she didn't go to college. And obviously that's a little bit longer ago, and she's not as equipped with the tools. But if you're someone that isn't like internally motivated to do certain things on the internet to make money, or if you don't have a great skill set or the drive to develop a skill set, which unfortunately I honestly will say about my sister, she isn't someone that is working she doesn't have the bigger picture of life yet, which is normal. A lot of children don't have that bigger picture. I think for those people, it is very pertinent for those people to go to college so that they can find something that works for them. And if not even something that works for them, they can still have the proof that I've done this thing for 4 years, and now I can say that I've accomplished that, and this is social proof to show to a company that I can show up to work for you. That's a little bit different from saying what Mac is saying. I think the biggest value out of college is doctors, lawyers, engineers, stuff like that.
Shit you have to excel at too. You can't even be, because I did finance, which people like to meme about. But I'll tell you right now, I was a BNC student because I knew I just got to graduate. This is finance. They'll take me if I can talk my way up. That's reality. What you're saying, those things, you got to go to college and you got to be at the top. You can't be mediocre at all.
Yeah. Which is why, like, in some ways, I'm also not pro college. I'm anti college. The kind of universe or the ecosystem that has been created in the job market is like you have to have your degree. You have to have a master's degree to get to a certain position. And most of the jobs don't even reference any of the things that you've learned in the particular program that you might have graduated in.
They're not paying you enough for those. They want you to have all this experience.
Right.
They want you to have 10 years experience out of college. How is that possible?
Yeah.
What are you
exactly looking for at this point? Yeah.
So I think, like, from my perspective, the whole thing is just broken. Like,
I can agree with that. It is broken.
It is super broken. So I wouldn't, like, I'm not going to sit here and tell people not to go to college, because that would be putting them at a disadvantage because the system is like this. But it should be the case that jobs aren't requiring this, and there should be other ways to prove that you have the skill to do something. So all in all, I think for me, it was a really good decision. I always wanted to be an astrophysicist. I was too stupid at my particular school because that shit was mad hard.
What's your degree in?
Cognitive and brain science.
Okay.
Which is also pretty smart, but the calculus just had me fucked up.
Yo, I got fried in calculus in college.
Had me smoked, bro. Bro, the first freshman class, the first exam, I got like a 13 back.
Yo, I gotta just say this quick one. So when I was in sophomore year, I took accounting. Worst class I ever took for me. Like I had to take it. It's a finance, like you have to take it. And I remember I studied for fucking 3 weeks straight for this final. I was like, dude, I just got to do good on this. I remember I told my mom, I'm like, man, I study every day for this. Like, I'm going to get it. And finally I got the exam back afterwards, and on the back it said 85 with a circle on it. And I was so fucking happy because I worked my butt off. I was getting fucking awful grades. And I called my mom. I was so happy, and she was so happy. Tell me why I go online. I go check my grades. 85 out of 200.
Nah, it really be like that, bro.
I remember I called my mom and I told her,
jumping for joy,
bro. My mom literally just not laughing at me, but just laughed at the absurdity. And she said, "I know you tried. Like, it's okay." And I was like, "Man, I'm fucking. I can't do this."
Why'd you circle 85?
Bitch, put over 200. No, but it's all me because I remember flipping through it and I'm like, "Damn, why is everything extra on it? Why is every problem I got to have some red shit on it?"
85.
85. Like, you seem to have drawn, but you seem to have a lot of issues with my answers.
Oh my god!
But to add to that though, I remember for my first 2 years, freshman, sophomore year, I knew I wanted to do finance because like I kind of just like the money related and business related sides of things. But it wasn't until my junior year, second semester, so a good 3 years into college, that I actually realized what I enjoy with finance, and that's because I took behavioral finance courses. Yeah, and that's when I actually realized, oh, I like this shit, like from an actual passion standpoint. And that was actually my first job was in a behavioral finance field when I got out of college. I left the job after a bit, but at least it did help a lot because I truly didn't know what I wanted to do. Yeah. And that actually, it felt so good when I found something that my mind actually cared about and wanted to pay attention to. Because up until then I was like, fucking school. Yeah. Let me just, but then I remember doing a projects, like big projects and stuff. And I actually enjoyed it. I put high levels of effort into it. And to this day, I love behavioral finance. It's one of the most interesting things to me and something that I find myself to be pretty good at, like just maneuvering through. Yeah.
I didn't even mention that I didn't go to college. So at the time I still am, but I'm heavily into art. So if I had gone to college, I would have gone for art, and that's a scam. A big waste of money. And when I was applying and I was looking at the prices, I looked at it and I was like, yeah, I don't think I want to be in debt for this, especially since like it's so competitive. Right. And like you get people who are like absolutely incredibly gifted and they can't get guaranteed a job. And I was just like, I don't know. So I never went. But looking back now with hindsight, I probably would have gone for like marketing. I would tell my past self, go for marketing, because I think that's like a good blanket degree to have, right?
Yeah, a lot of friends marketing.
So, and that's what I was telling my niece. My niece is college age and she's about to go like next year, I believe. And she's applying and stuff. And I was like, if you don't exactly, I think she's going for business. Sure. But I was like, yeah, if you don't know, then just go for marketing, because you can use that knowledge, like even if you're self-employed, right?
Yeah, that's literally why I went to business. I was like, all right, this is a blanket. Like, I like this. I really wasn't into fucking math and science. Like, I didn't hate it, but I knew for a fact I'm failing out if I make that my fucking focus. Like, I knew for a fact it's over for me. So I knew, all right, I'm kind of into business and finance related stuff. So this is, like you said, it's like a blanket thing. It's going to prepare me for at least some job that I like, hopefully.
Yeah. And to add on that, like I obviously said I was into physics. I tried physics. That blew me up. After that, I tried econ, and I just like parts of it were interesting and some parts of it were like whatever. So I didn't stay committed to econ. I think there were like other like classes I was trying to see what major I wanted to go in. Nothing really spoke to me until I talked to my friend and he told me what his major was, and which was cognitive and brain science. And if you're interested, it is pretty much the intersection of psychology, philosophy, and computer science or cognition. If you ever seen the movie like Her or like Ghost in the Shell, Ex Machina, those are like theoretical, like philosophical, like things that might apply. Consciousness, the philosophy of mind, heterophenomenology, ethics of like all that stuff. Sure. Like all that stuff is related to it. So not only is that something that going to college for the exploration of what you enjoy is important, I also want to separate the tying of schooling and learning. Like,
Yep.
Never, like, even if you don't go to college, if you don't go to school, it's so important just in life to be a lifelong learner. You always want to learn.
That's really true.
Just continue to learn about anything. It could be one topic next day, another topic another day. Just keep on learning, because at the end of the day, that's what's the most important part.
Yeah, I want to emphasize anything. You like, if you enjoy it, learn about anything. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. I just want to emphasize,
because I can say with absolute certainty, in the years of 2020 and part of 2021, what I taught myself finance related, because I was interested and because I could just go on the internet all day and actually find the stuff I wanted to learn, I can tell you I blew past what I was learning in college. Like I was so into it and I learned so much that ended up helping me going forward. And you just have to be a lifelong learner. Yeah. That's a really good way of putting it, because I mean, that's what life is about. Like every step in your life, you learn from the past, and that's how it affects it. It's not even just learning academically, just everything. Like you can't just become stagnant at all. Yeah.
And you're gonna change from coming from someone that has kind of had to battle with this or reconcile with this, especially with COVID and trying to figure out what I wanted to do in my life, and also to like sustain my life for a job. Like I've changed so much in even those 2 years, but like in the 9 years since I was 20, or however many years since I've graduated, not all of those things still apply to what my degree was in, or aren't still the things I was trying to learn then. Being able to, or learning as many things as possible and just learning in general kind of future proofs you from whatever the state of the world is, or like the state of things are, because now you can have you can adapt, and you have skill sets that you can apply for the future. And really, I was interviewing for one place, and this kind of made me have a bigger thought, especially because we have so much software and a lot of jobs, they want you to know a specific tool. There's always going to be a new tool. The biggest thing is how do you know how to learn a tool and apply those learnings? Because in some point, probably not Word or PowerPoint, but stuff like that is going to become out of date or just not exist because AI takes our jobs. How do you apply yourself to have like a skill set outside of it? So I guess all that to say is I think college is really important, but don't just make a decision to go to college based on someone telling you have to go to college. And also don't just go to the most expensive college because you think that's going to be the best time.
That prestigious college, that like all of that stuff, the value has gone down. Yes, it does matter for some things, but it's getting less and less and less. Like I really do think a lot of the time that I wish I went to community college for 2 years and then finished my last 2 years at a university, because university was amazing for me for my own growth as a person. Like that's for damn sure. But I don't think that it was worth $45,000 a year of growth. That's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was
like that's another thing I want to talk about that we didn't talk about too much. We only talked about the school side of it, the networking, quote unquote. Yeah. But like the social aspect of college, I would say is probably the biggest value that you get out of college. But you should not be paying $25,000, $100,000 a semester or a year.
People I've networked with off Twitter blow everybody from college out of the fucking water. Like I'm fucking serious. Like I'm serious.
Yeah, I agree.
But of course, networking it does matter. But again, people really overrate these things, especially when they kind of make it like they almost like make you fear it in the sense of like you have to do this or it's over for you. Like it's not true. Times have changed. Like, and I also wanted to double back on what Akil said about how it's okay to not know what you want to do or even have a big picture of what you want to do. College is made to help you with that. Counselors, you're surrounded by thousands of people from different upbringings, different
also in the same
socioeconomic backgrounds. You learn a lot. College is eye-opening to a lot of people because they're just in their little bubble, and then they really start. I mean, certainly there's something. You go to like some super Ivy League. I'm sure everybody's still in that bubble, but you know what I mean. Like I went to a university that had like 30,000 plus people, and so I remember I learned a lot. It was definitely like an eye-opening thing, you know.
Yeah. So, son, I want.
One last thing for me. College, ultimately, to boil it down, college is the perfect opportunity to have like a trial on young adult life, not adult life, but young adult life. You have 4 years around people in this similar position as you that don't know what they're doing as well. You can come together and you have like a safe. Not space because people have kind of bastardized the term safe space, but you have a safe opportunity to make mistakes and figure out what you want to do and be prepared for the next part of your life before you have real consequences. So
I will say, if you go to university, you better have fun and make it count because after those 4 years, you're a super adult and you can't do half of that shit you cannot get away with. Yeah. So if you go to college, make sure you max out on bullshit because that is your time. I was on some bullshit. Like I can't get away with that shit now. What the fuck? But back then, so if you do go, make sure you just take advantage of what that situation is because not everybody gets to go to college. It's a luxury. Yeah. And if you do go, like that's the one thing I can't say enough. Do not stay in your room. Do not stay on your computer. Like even if you're shy, blah, 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 blah. The point of college is that you will find somewhere you belong and are accepted. There are so many fucking people and so many things. Like you will find and it's not even like you need to be part of like a club or whatever. Like, but you'll find something. I'm pretty convinced, but you have to also go out and make it happen.
So what I wanted to touch upon was how not just college, but school in general just prepares, at least here in America, I can't speak for other countries, they just prepare you to be a worker. So a lot of the time they're not really diving deep into like the nit and gritty of like something. Maybe if you have a really good teacher, then it's like, but like most part, the whole curriculums, would y'all agree, is like preparing you to be workers and get into the work mindset and then society glorifies certain jobs and not others. Because why are you glorifying, like if you walk into somebody and you say, oh, I'm a doctor, it's like, okay, cool, that's great, a doctor, right? But then you'll say, oh, well, I don't know, I don't know if this is true now still, but back then, remember you say, "Oh, you're a plumber." Niggas look you crazy, like you know what I mean. But plumbers, plumbers make bread.
Yeah, they be making fun of garbage men. Garbage men make $100K plus a year, and they've been made $100K plus a year.
If you have a plumbing company, you make bank. If you're an individual plumber, you might not make as much, but you still make a decent amount. You make some bread.
Like, bro, I literally know one of my friends. His little brother is 19 years old, works in construction. I'm not saying construction is easy.
Construction is crazy,
he is making some bread. And again,
train operators.
This is hard work. This is not some easy shit. But he is making fucking bread. More than I know from kids who went 4-year university with good grades, blah, 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 blah. That's the reality.
And my advice to young people would be, don't let society keep you from making that bread. Like, just if you
really are like money focused, and I mean that with zero bad connotation. No shit, people want money.
Like, you want money, you gotta live.
If you want money, then you already know that you gotta cook up some shit. Like, you gotta have some, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to get to what you were saying, Mac, but it just reminded me of something. I think it's a country in Asia. I think it might be Japan that this sentiment has started to rise. More or less, it is like a segment of young people have decided to forego college or like university and get a head start on their life. And if you think about like if you think about in 10 years, how much money you can make in that 10 years, obviously after 4 years of college, you would expect that you would make more money in those latter 6 years. But if you have, or versus if you are immediately working at the first 4 years, you could be making less, but at the end of it, you could foresee like the split being
for sure
potentially even.
4 years is so much time.
It's a huge head start. People are realizing if they want to start a family, if they want to do certain things, that I think again is in Japan that it makes sense to not go to college because of some of these things that we talk about, because they can just immediately just get to work. Bringing it back to the idea that college is for the purpose of creating workers, I wouldn't say that exactly. I think what it is trying to do, ultimately it is that, but ultimately what it is trying to do is trying to make people that are contributing to society. And the way that our world, at least the Western US world, is kind of shaped is that everyone works jobs. Even like the art side of it, like when you think about like art school, like that is like a pipeline of creating people that are creating like a certain type of content that is, or even certain type of thing that is largely graphic design for businesses or like advertising for businesses. So largely, yes, it's for like creating workers, but I think contributing to society, and society has kind of gone super capitalist, super consumerist, which is obviously not ideal, and not, at least to me, not super ideal.
I want to get into that. You have something else you want to say?
No, you had.
Now, that I wanted to pivot into that because I have beef with corporate America or 9-to-5 culture, and I'm sorry. No, I had flashbacks. You ever had like a shitty job?
Yes.
Like a very shitty job? You just, oh my God.
Many shitty jobs.
Okay. What did I want to say?
Corporate with you, I'm a fraud. 16, worked at Radio Shack for a bit, was terrible. Radio Shack.
But you hated it, right?
So I know I sound 35. Yeah, that shit was whack. Everyone is fucking stupid. People in retail are literally fucking stupid. Hey, this coupon expired 3 months ago, but you'll take it, right? Are you fucking stupid?
Oh, the customers?
Yes.
Oh, customers.
That's what I mean. Just
yeah, customers.
They'll teach you some patience.
Yes.
And then I had a business job right after where I worked at a firm. And then after 3 months, I was like, yeah, this is too many hours. And, my YouTube channel might just pass this shit. I'm done. I was like, yeah, I don't know. And my parents were mad cool about it because I was doing other stuff besides YouTube. I had some, like, I don't really talk about it much, but y'all know I had some moves and shit
trading
around that time. Yeah. So it was good. And that's why I stress so much about that's why I so heavily care about what you said about how you have to be a lifelong learner, because I didn't go home and fucking sit on my ass all day.
Exactly.
I fucking took all that. I was fucking, in fact, I worked harder than when I was in college. I had 10, 12-hour days on my computer learning shit that I cared about. And so for that reason, I felt like I was winning, and I had such a fun time doing it. It was great. I was like, this is what college should have felt like.
You know this reference? All right, never mind. Never mind. I'm not going to say the reference. That right there, that taught you kind of like a work ethic, right?
Yeah.
So okay.
No, literally. Because in college, it was just, fuck it, I get these B's and C's. I'm going to still graduate. I don't care. That was me.
I think 99.9% of the population has had shitty jobs. I've had shitty jobs. I've had more than one shitty job. My mind is all over the place. Sorry. So you talked about how you didn't like your job. You went home, you worked hard, and it put you in a better position, right? So you learned that work ethic. You was a learner. You did that. That's good to know. Now, what I wanted to say was corporate America, or like not, if you have a 9-to-5 and you don't like your 9-to-5, obviously we all have to work, right?
Yeah.
You need a work ethic. It's good to have a work ethic. Don't be lazy. Get a job. Don't sit on your ass. That's my opinion on it. My whole thing is, don't break your back for these companies.
For sure.
This is like, I'm very passionate about this because working, I'm gonna sound like Unc, but like, I've been working for like 10, 11 years now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, do not break your back for these companies. Take your PTO, take your sick time. Don't let these people who make you feel bad for taking time off.
Yeah.
Don't,
Facts.
You see what I'm saying? Don't do any extra work if you really don't have to.
No matter what they tell you, they are not loyal to you.
They are not.
If you died today,
1,000%.
You're gone.
You are not
die
loyal.
Today, tomorrow they don't have a new guy.
There's no, we're family. There's none of that.
None of that
These
shit.
people are not your family and they are not your friends. Keep your business to yourself. Watch who you talking to at work, even if they're not the manager. even the people I've ran into, I have stories.
Man, I remember stories of a girl getting fired because she went stupid in the work group chat. It's like, what are you doing? Like, keep that shit to yourself. Like, keep that shit to yourself. These people are not, even if you work for them with a while, maybe you actually might make, because I've made like genuine friends at work. Like, you know what I mean? But like, don't get too comfortable, you know what I mean? And the other thing I want to say is, damn. You spit.
Yeah, but I think what you just said, like, I don't think that is making friends at work is not.
That's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad. Yeah. It's not even the opposite of what you're saying, because I think what you're saying is like, don't be like don't overshare in a way that the company's best interest
use it against you.
Yeah, the company's best interest is not your best interest.
It's not your best interest. It's the company.
If they find that whatever you're doing, whatever you're saying, your opinion or your thoughts is not in their best interest, they're going to remove you from their situation. So that's not to say you can't have friends, you can't enjoy the situation that you're in.
You can enjoy it. Yeah,
just don't put your whole
don't put all your business.
Don't put your whole heart into it. You need to know that that this is just something that you are a part of now, that you're using for your livelihood. And I think you should be thinking, like, not like every time you get a job, you need to start thinking, but what if I could do blah, blah, blah. But you should be thinking, what else is there? Like, what else do I like? And that kind of thing. Because otherwise, unless you really are passionate about the work, like, you know, at a certain point, you're just going to be going to work. You're not even gonna,
and if you are passionate, it's your career, by all means, that's great. You know what I mean? But even then, you know, asterisk around that, because if you work for a big company, it's still a big company at the end of the day. It could still fuck you. You know what I mean? But what my mind is running. Like, y'all got a thought?
I mean, it's just like my mother, for example, is a scientist, and she's had the same job for 35 years at the same company. And to this day, sometimes she'll be going off about how disrespected she got at work and blah, 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 by people with less seniority than her, below her in rank, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, and it honestly breaks my heart. And I mean, like, it's not like she's fucked up like after the next day, but it's just like, you know, I know she puts a lot of her self-value in that. And it goes back to what we're saying. Don't put your whole heart into like, you can be good at your job. My mom takes a lot of pride in that, and she's great at her job. But just know that, like, this shit does not define you whatsoever.
Your self-value, your value as a person is not defined by what you do for work, how good you are at your job, or anything like that.
For sure.
You reminded me of something. You reminded me of a couple of things. Sure. I think the first thing is of the Toy Story 2 movie, Toy Story 2 got deleted, like, within the company, but there was a person that had a backup of Toy Story 2 like on their computer, and she saved Toy Story 2 Toy Story 2 the movie.
Damn.
So it could have not come out if she didn't have a backup.
Ain't nobody had a backup.
Yeah. She recently got fired by Disney, which I'm not saying that because she saved it, Disney has to keep her forever on the basis of her saving that. But she saved them a lot of money in not needing to create the movie again, or like just abandoning the movie. The fact that she had that, like, if someone did that for me, like, if I lost something so pivotal in my life that it could have fucked my life up for the future, like, I'm indebted to you as a person for the rest of my life. Whatever you need,
quite literally. Yeah, like that's just a like
whatever you need from me, I got you. But as a company, they're not going to look at that and say, this person saved us as a business. Definitionally, we should keep her on board. They're just going to make a decision to fire her if it comes up.
They never have to really deal with that, like, emotional situation or that person to person. For them, it's just X out on a spreadsheet next.
Yeah, most of the people that were around for that probably aren't even around today. There might be like a few executives that were around then, like when it got saved to now, but the majority of the company is probably new people. So who's even really thinking about that emotional aspect?
I feel like I'm so jaded towards some types of like careers. Like, I remember during COVID, my dad worked for 25 years. I saw him cry when he got fired, and it was just like, fuck. I just remember that shit made my blood fucking boil. And they told him, yeah, you have 12 hours before we're going to lock you out of your company computer. And he was just frozen because he had so many files on there. And I'm like, yo, you need to snap out of this shit. I went to Office Max, got a bunch, like a hard drive, blah, 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 helped them. Like, and I was just like, and it broke my heart, right? To see that, no one wants to see their dad fucking, you know what I'm saying? It was just like, and I just remember that shit. I was like, fuck, dude, I hate this shit so fucking much. Like, fuck.
That's what I'm saying.
Just made me so like, it wasn't sadness. I was like fucking enraged, you know? Like,
That's what that's the point. That's the ultimate point I'm trying to make is do not go crazy for these companies because they really don't care about you for real. And a word of advice would be to like hard work doesn't reward you with more money. It just rewards you with more work. So don't
if you're the best
really
at your
don't
shit,
break your back because what they're gonna do is see that you can do more, so they'll give you more. Instead of you have the mindset of if I do more, they'll promote me and I'll get more money. That's not what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen is they're gonna see you could do more, so they're gonna give you more for the same pay.
All they think is, damn, the machine is now more efficient, and I gotta put less money into it. Hell yeah, that's all they think.
I was watching a video. I can't remember which like intelligence agency, but it was either like CIA or FBI. He was a former person. And he was talking about like how in the training, like how you don't have to be like super specific of a person to be able to join the CIA, but they do have like a rigorous training that will give you skills to be successful. So he's saying that in coming out of that and trying to figure out what he's going to do for his life, because apparently like after you leave the CIA or something like that, especially if you're undercover or whatever, like you can't really get a job because if you're like a spy, you can't get a job because the CIA was like your cover. They would like fabricate things for you. So in the like grace period between you leaving and finding a new thing, you can't really work or anything like that. He was talking about how he utilized some of the skills that made him as a spy or a CIA agent a good thing or a good spy. He utilized those skills to like be successful in business or whatever endeavors that he wanted. And the reason why I mentioned this is it's not that he was working particularly hard at anything. He was everything that we have as far as work or whatever, all of these are like social paradigms that involve a lot of politics and that can be manipulated. Essentially what he was saying is that I knew that people weren't thinking about these things on a dimension that I was thinking about them, or like the grand scheme that I was thinking about it. So I manipulated the situation so that I could be in the best position possible as easily as possible. So if you are someone that is trying to make more money or get a better position in your job, it's not necessarily always about working harder. I think working harder is the most easy way because it shows that you're dedicated and you want to do this thing. But the real efficient way to get a better position or a better role is to think about the grand scheme of what you want from this thing and how is it that you go about getting it? Who do you need to be close to?
That's why they always say work smart, not work hard.
Exactly. Work smart, not work harder.
True.
So yeah. Don't work harder if you don't have to. If you're in a situation, find a way to get what you want without necessarily.
Very true. And sometimes you need to just step back and take a look and think, what drives me? Where do I see myself? It's very easy when you're like working every single day to just kind of like go through it, come home, unwind, like blah, 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 and kind of like just not really know like what you like, but you got to take a step back and kind of think. Yeah. So I really agree with that. I have like an outlier kind of situation. Like I have a cousin. And he's like 10 years older than me, or it's like 15. Anyways, he was always really damn cocky, very like sure of himself. He failed out of university. And even after that, he was like, I'm so savvy though. Bro, he has like 6 different businesses and is worth like 20 M's today. I'm not even joking. And but we all like, first of all, most people don't even know he failed out of college. That's just like most people in our family don't even know that. But he was like, it's whatever. I remember him saying like, I'm so savvy. I know what I need to do. I know what I want. Of course, that's an outlier. He's a one of a kind in my opinion. But the point still stands. He didn't tie his self-worth to that shit at all. He knew who he was. Yep. He knew what he was capable of. Of course, you don't need to get ahead of yourself, but give yourself some credit. Take those chances. Take those shots. He knew the personality he was. He knew what do they say? Go-getter. He got what he wanted. Like, and he built on it. Of course, extremely hardworking. Yep. Like never took a day off type shit. I truly like admire that type of thing too. You can't just lazily work your way up, especially from where he was at. But yeah, and I remember I always thought about that, and that really inspired me a lot too, because I was like, just stay on it, and again, work smart. Yep. Think about where is there a hole, where is there like a need for something that nobody's doing, like Akil was saying.
Yeah, so I would say put more time into yourself than you do your job if possible.
Yeah.
Definitely put more. I think that's like, if you pull anything from this conversation, it's like,
well said, yeah.
Invest in yourself. So don't bring any work home. If you really don't bring any work home. Don't ever y'all know me. I've never talked about work before, right? Do I ever talk about work? I literally don't bring that shit home. Y'all don't know shit about work. I don't talk about that.
All you say is that you got some crazy coworkers. That's the shit you tell us from work.
Sometimes it's they crazy and oh my God. But when I leave there, I'm not thinking about it really, except right now.
Yeah, because why should you break your back after the fact?
Yeah, exactly.
You're not getting paid to worry about them at home.
So I'm going to go home and work on myself and invest in yourself.
What you said is really true. You do not need to enrich this company by extra 0.01%. Focus on yourself, grow your own shit, and things will fall into place. That's a fact.
This is something I've been thinking about a lot, especially as I've been interviewing for new stuff and trying to look for new roles. My job currently is fully remote, but if it was the case, then I would go back to office. Now I got to start again thinking about commute. I have a dog, so it's not the most convenient thing. Obviously, Thunderman is here to help take care of the dog. But when I start thinking about all the things that you have to do for your job, that's 8 hours of the day, sleep, 4 hours on each side of the day, so 16 hours already. And then if you're commuting, that's a couple extra hours. If you're waking up every day at 6 a.m., getting ready for work to go to work, now you're coming back home at 5, 6. You really got to be in bed in 9 and 10 for real. If you're going to sleep at 11, 12, you're going to be probably exhausted for the next day.
That's a reality, yeah.
One of the things that I value most, or I think is super important that I don't want to happen, is that I'm not trying to work 30 years and look back. All of it was just me sleeping or working and not really getting to enjoy my life in the ways that I want. So I've made it an intentional effort I hadn't previously gone on too many vacations before 2023 when I went to Japan. Before that, I wasn't really doing anything as far as enjoying life for real. I was just going as the days went with work and just falling into that kind of, I want to say blindness or going with the days is super. It's not the worst thing ever, but be intentional about your life and the way that you want to live it, because you don't want to look up and now you're 45, 50, 60 and you only ever really went to sleep, woke up to go to work and then went back to sleep, because that's no way to
do not just go through the motions.
Exactly.
Anything in life, because then when you finally hit that point where you actually have to figure out what's next, you panic. And that happened to me myself when I finished university. I had a good ass time for 4 years. Came the summer after my senior year and I started I was like, wait, what the fuck do I even want? And I remember I was like, what the fuck? Am I just going to have this job I don't even like and just do it? I was fucking shocked. I had the preparation wasn't there. She hit me like a fucking brick. Mm-hmm. You cannot just go through the motions. What's that? Amazon?
I don't know.
Tell us this. He gonna be on the pod.
Who are you? It's Suave.
Wait, no, it might be Amazon. I ordered protein bars yesterday.
Wow.
That was on me. I had to think for a second. I was like,
so now everyone knows you don't go to the grocery store for that. You order them off Amazon. No,
they're cheaper on Amazon and healthier than going to the... Let me not dodge.
Nah. I do want to add that, I know that we're talking about, looking up one day after going through the motions and now, your life is gone, past you. I also kind of want to say that it's never too late in life to start something for the first time or become something. And I want to say this earlier in reference to college. When I was in school, grad school and undergrad, I would see older people in some of my classes. They were students. They were going to get their bachelor's degree. Mm-hmm. So there's this notion that college is for young people, which is kind of why we have having this conversation. But college isn't only for young people. If you are 35 one day and you say, I haven't been to college. Do I want to go to school, learn something? Good. Absolutely do that. If it makes sense for you, absolutely do that. If you want to do something, absolutely do that.
That shit might even be better because, like you said, you're going in with intention.
Yeah.
You know what you want out of it. You've lived enough to know, rather than going from a place of, I don't know, but I'm going to do it because that's what we do.
Exactly. All the bullshit of I'm going to go to parties and all that shit. All that shit that you care about as a younger person, all that shit's out your brain. Now you're here for something. That's something that, as I've been growing, that has become super valuable to me. Even in my degree, there were concepts about cognitive science that were harder to grasp And probably because I didn't put all of my effort there. But as I've gotten older, especially with grad school was mad easy for me. It was like, it was crazy how funny it was and how easy it was. Like I was like a BC student. I'm not saying I'm a stupid person. I'm a pretty smart person, but in college, my grades weren't that good compared to whatever I had done in high school or previously. Not to even say that I was an A student then. I was a good student or a smart student, not necessarily the best student.
No, but it's definitely like jarring how much more effort you have to put in college to do well than high school, bro. You can coast in high school.
Exactly,
like, that's a fact. Like that's reality.
I was someone that never had classes on Fridays because I was trying to make moves.
I had 9:30 on Friday, and then what we have? Where the fuck the funks?
My freshman fall semester was the only time I had a class on Friday, and then maybe like class before like 10, 11 a.m. After that, it was all class in the evening. Nothing on Friday. You just brought me
back to senior year. No school Friday, Monday. I was on demon time 24/7. Right? People would go to class on Monday, see me on my balcony just chilling. They'd be like, "Fuck him."
Yeah, and it's like that type of mindset, which. Like, and not to say that people that do that are putting themselves at a disadvantage. Yeah. Like you're just enjoying, like you're doing the experience the way you know how. For sure. But there's a more optimal way to do that.
Go with intention, right? Exactly. Just like shit, I can take these off. I'm a chill, you know.
Exactly. Like, and when you do at a later age, like all that wastefulness is kind of out of your head, hopefully, and now you're doing things with more intention. So just something to think about.
Just don't go through the motions. That's really well said.
I want to add on what you were talking about like if you don't know what you want to do or living your life is I am someone who thinks hobbies are so important and like finding new hobbies. And if you like something before, you can find something new. I have multiple hobbies. You can have multiple hobbies. A hobby could lead to something. Sometimes like, okay, so life is about perspective to me a lot. Like it's like, I think life is like a majority of it is perspective. So if you don't know something is possible, then you won't try to do it. So so what I'm saying is if you go in the, what am I trying to say?
What the fuck the function?
I don't know how to word this. So if you dive into hobbies, right, you can find out something is possible. So like, an extreme example is like when you grow up poor, black in the neighborhood, then you see basketball players, you see athletes, you see all these rappers, right? And you think, oh, that's possible, so I'm going to do that. But a lot of people don't know you could be a writer for a show, you could be a cameraman, you could be a producer. All these like, if you like movies, I'm not into acting. You don't have to be into acting. You could like do something behind the camera. All those people behind the camera are just as important. So like the point I'm really trying to make is like, just like, if you don't know what you want to do, just hobbies will help you find that as well. And like hobbies also help with like winding down from work. So like when you're not in work, you have a day off, find anything you like to do.
Yeah.
You got something?
You go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'm just also really of the opinion that if you have true passionate love for something, then you will probably find the best things out of that. Should it be people? Should it be taking it to a different place and like sort of like a job or whatever the case is? But yeah, I do agree with that a lot. Like if you really do have like pure intentions with your hobby, rather like, I mean, that's like the reality. I guess I'm kind of just saying this. It also comes from a place of like, I've been told, or not told, but asked many times by friends I have online, which are like, yo, should I make a YouTube channel to make some bread? And I'm like, let me stop you right there, my brother. You will not make a fucking dime for a very, very long time. Yeah. And even when your shit is big, you still likely won't make money because YouTube does not pay shit. Like that's and I'm like, and so I tell them, I'm like, do you love it? I'm like, would you make a video every day because it makes you feel good? Or are you doing it because you think, all right, I'm gonna get to this point and then I'm gonna get paid? Because you will, like, first of all, that shit bleeds through. Yep. When you're doing something with the intentions of I need to get paid, that shit bleeds through.
You're never gonna.
People are not stupid, you know. Like, I mean, again, this is kind of an aside. This is like creative stuff, but yeah, like I think hobbies, if you have a real love and a good intentions with it, you will find really good, like-minded people as well. Some of the connections I've made online are like incredible, and I'm so grateful. Good people, forward-focused people, like shit, you know. So yeah, just have good intentions with.
I think that's a really good point, because especially on TikTok, more so even than on Instagram. On TikTok, you see creators. The creators that I see like become super successful. Obviously, we have like not generic, but like standard, like I don't even know who like popular girl creator is or like guy creator is. But like when you find someone that has like a niche hobby or a niche interest, they become so popular because people are just like engaged in their thing. Mm-hmm. Like if it was about making money for them, they would have never blown up in the first place, because it is their interest that or whatever passion
translates.
Like, yeah,
you know,
it translates.
That thing is why they're possible. Or for me though, like I have a complicated relationship with like turning your hobbies into like a career. Or it's like a means to make a living.
I don't think you should always do that. But
yeah. I started photography after I graduated college. I wish I was taking photos before that. I think my life would probably be a lot different right now. And more even recently, I want to like start making more videos and like directing, stuff like that. I think or cinematography, director of photography will be super cool. But I started photography in 2019. And I got really good really fast. Not the best, but the standard arc for what have seen like friends or like just other people take for getting good at photography. I feel like I took really good photos very young in my photography life. And that kind of pushed me toward the direction of, hey, maybe I should be a photographer. And when I picked it up, that wasn't really my intention. I wasn't necessarily trying to be a photographer for my career when I initially picked it up, but the idea that I'm so good at this that I should be making money kind of ruined photography for me, in which I stopped taking photos for a really long time because I didn't see it working out as a career path, and that kind of hurt me. I felt lesser about myself for a long time as a photographer, as an artist, because I didn't feel like an artist, because I felt like if I was a good one, then I would be getting business.
Like, I couldn't translate this into a living, so obviously I'm not. But that can't be further from the truth.
Exactly. So for that reason, like I really and part of me still is like pursuing some of these things as a way to like make some money. Maybe if it's my career at some point, who knows? But I think it's super important to keep your hobbies as something that are your hobbies first, right? Because you don't want to lose your love of that thing to the point where the business of whatever you're doing or other things that aren't the actual art of the thing that you're doing corrupt the essence of what you're doing. It could be like even YouTube. Like if you like making, one of my friends, Haji, has been making videos on music, and not to say that like this is something that he's going to do. I'm just saying as an example, if there was ever something where YouTube and the infrastructure of making videos and the communities that he's like created or anything after the fact of making the video, if any of that made him feel worse about making videos, in my mind, that would be one of the worst things ever, because this is something that he just genuinely enjoys doing, and to not want to do that anymore because all the surrounding things, I feel like would be a loss, like in the grand scheme, because now this person will probably make worse work, right? Because
now they're constricted by all these things. Yeah.
So,
not to sound like corny, but like it's like a beautiful thing when you can find something that you really are passionate about. People are lost all the time. Mm-hmm. I'm no different, right? Like there's been so many times I've felt like I just going through the motions. I'm like, damn, I don't even know what I fucking like. I don't even know what I want to do. So like, I think it's like you should really just feel like if you find something that you really can put like your honest love into, and not even to say like, oh, your hobbies, you need to like be building on them and growing on them or blah, blah, blah. But just like, if you just can find something that you truly do love, and it's not something that's like bad, obviously, like that's like a very beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. Like it's great. So much can happen. You even get a sense of belonging from the shit, even if you're not with other people.
Yeah. I do think you should always, so even if you do have a hobby that you turned into a career, I think it's important to have something that's never for monetary gain. It should always be just for you. So like, even if like you're into photography, you make photography your career, I think you should find something else second that is just for you. I think that's so important. I think someone was talking about this. I can't remember. I think it was a director or someone. But
I'm sure a lot of people have. So I don't think you got to reference anyone in particular.
Yeah, but just something that's just for you is so important. That's it. That's the only point.
Yeah, no, just I 100% agree.
Man.
Do we have any other topics?
That was some good discussion.
Where? Yeah.
Man.
I wonder what Swave would say if he was here.
Yeah, he would have had some.
He would have said he only needs 3 hours of sleep.
He would have said I probably only needed 2 weeks of college to be honest. He said all that extra time in the gym. Fuck out of here.
No, we should definitely, when he's back on, have ask him like some
he gonna watch this episode. He gonna be in the comments.
Yeah,
fan.
Yeah.
That was a good one. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was episode 9. Again, join the Discord if you're not in the Discord.
Link in the description.
Link in the description. Please comment. Please interact.
We love hearing y'all suggestions too.
Yeah,
and what you think we can also like improve on, change, all that stuff.
Yeah. So without anything else, catch y'all later.
All right.
Peace.